and welcome to the Author Roundup, a special segment of the Book Connection Show where we meet up and coming indie authors and talk to them about their recently released books. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Author Roundup. I'm your host, Jenny, and I'm glad you can join me as we have another conversation with a familiar author. We've had previous talks with him about his earlier books, and he is the creator of the Code Z book series, which is about how the Kawasaki Superbikes appeared on the world stage. He is a German citizen and retired as a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer after he was made redundant in 2014. In search of new fields of activity, the writing of books came into his mind. Since he owned many of the presented motorcycles himself and always likes to remember the exciting 1970s and 1980s, especially as a motorcyclist, the Kawasaki Superbikes offered itself as a topic. So I'm very pleased to introduce once again Stefan Oehl, the author of Kawasaki Superbike series, and this time we'll be talking about Z1000 A Mk.II and E. Hi, Stefan. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Good evening and good evening, viewers. Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm excited because we have another addition to the Kawasaki Superbike series, and that's the Z1000 A Mk.II and E. So congratulations on the recently published book. What is this book all about this time?
Yeah, it is about two very related motorcycles, and they are basically very different from the previous ones. Kawasaki went away from the 3S styling concept, which had smooth lines and the nice contours and so on, and introduced corners, triangles, and squares. So a very modern bike, and even the frame is exposed. So the side cover sits inside the frame, and the previous models cover the frame up.
Okay, so am I correct in understanding that there will be two models featured in this particular book?
Yes.
Okay, so what
Yes.
sets So that's what are those models?
Yeah, we have, they are very related. It's the A and the Model E. The E has a new final drive. Kawasaki decided to install the first cardan drive to a motorcycle and basically converted this bike, the E version, into a touring bike. So the lines are a little bit more conservative, not so sporty. Yeah, the Mk.II basic model is more a sports bike, where the E has more touring capabilities. It can take more load and is not designed to race, so it is definitely a tourer.
I see. So, Stefan, each book in the Kawasaki Superbike series would feature different models, right? And you've
Yes,
said like the latest book now has two models
yes.
that are featured. So, what sets these apart from the other models featured in your other books, in your previous books?
Yeah, the reason is I wanted to limit the whole project to 8 books, and I had to balance the number of pages to about 500. And so I came up with the idea that I take the first models, which are pretty much straightforward. However, we have now a modern motorcycle with electronic ignition, and so I had to come up with other ideas. So instead of making a second book, I bring them all together, the E and Mk.II. They have the same engine, only the final drive is different, but it's everything contained and compressed in this book, and it still has 480 pages, very detailed.
I see. So tell us about, since you already said that there are 480 pages in the book,
Yeah.
and it still basically has the same type of information presented in the previous books. Um, Tell us about the information that we can find in this latest book. Who is your intended audience for this?
Yeah, the audience are basically two subgroups of the motorcycle and enthusiasts. There are the sport drivers and the tourers, and both can benefit from this book, because over the years and decades, parts have swapped. You find now spare parts from the E on the Mk.II and vice versa. And if someone is interested to revert the bike to an original condition, he can find out by the markings and achieve to get the original Mk.II or the tourer.
Hmm. Okay, so the main people who will benefit from your books would be the motorcycle enthusiasts.
Yes. Mhm.
How do they usually use the information in your book? How would your like motorcycle enthusiasts, how would they use the information in your book?
Yeah, I have to say that collectors and bike restorers, yeah, are also welcome. It's a welcome tool. So over the whole range of the books, they will benefit from these books. And after 5 books, the reader will see that it's the same build-up of the book. So information can be found in about the same position. So we have subchapters, and they match with the previous models, and even with two motorcycle models. You find the information starting with base information, color, badges, and then we go into the details, take parts apart and look what's inside. Yeah, and the build-up is the same like the books before.
Yes. So I find what's most helpful about this book is that there are lots of pictures and lots of illustrations, aside, of course, from the details that are presented in it. So is it the same way for this book? Does it still have all of those pictures, illustrations?
Yeah, there is a very a large amount of information is on the drawing, so you won't
Mhm.
find it in the contents table in the preface of the book. Each drawing has a lot of information, so in text form and warnings and recommendations and so on. Over the last 4 books, this was good to take this structure again, because the feedback from people shows they find very easy what they are looking for.
Mm-hmm. I see. So let's talk about your experience as an author this
Yeah.
time. So after a few books have already been published, so the experience of being an author and the journey of being an author is not new to you anymore. How long did it take you to complete this most recent book?
Yeah, it's about, I would say, also 9 months. There
Mhm.
is, on the one side, we have the routine. So some things happen more quickly, the build-up of the page. However, these new motorcycles have new features, electronic ignition and so on. Some have fuel injection, so it is a much more a detailed substructure. So we have more subchapters in the book. And this equalized it. So about 9 months. So it took 9 months to build the book.
Mhm. That's already including all the research that you had to do about the two models.
Yeah, what I do is during my research, when I find information which is for a future project or a revision of an older project, I keep it. I save it, so I will not risk, yeah, that the information is gone. So I take it straight away, because you find a lot of information on eBay. People sell parts. You have the seller information. You can ask for permission and use high resolution, very detailed photos.
I
And when
see.
I find something, I take it straight away before I lose it. Yeah. So
Mhm.
over the last 5 years, yeah, and investigation was related to all types, all books. Yeah, so it is not exactly 9 months. When you add the previous years, yeah, you come up with another 1 or 2 months. Yeah, as I said, during research for other projects.
Mhm. The next question is somehow related to what you just shared. So, if you compare the format of all the books in the series, they are somewhat the same, right? So, after publishing a few books, does it get easier for you to finish or to to complete the later editions or the later parts of the series or the later books in the series? Does it get any easier as compared to the first time that you worked on the first book?
Yes, definitely. One part are the images. So we have much better images, the end of the 1970s compared to the end of the 1960s, where I had to take images from newspaper articles and create my own detailed drawings because newspaper images have a coarse grid, so you have little dots and so on. So I had to create a new bike basically from scratch. And the new motorcycle from the end of the 70s, you have much more high resolution images
Mhm.
and more information. Yeah, people uh, took more time to take photos, and this benefits. I benefit from this.
I see. So the gathering of the information that you would want to include this time is a little easier as compared to
Yes,
the first few books. I see.
yes. Mhm.
Okay. So if you could go back, let's see, because you already published 5 books in the series, right? If you could go back and do things differently, is there something that you would want to change or perhaps improve in the way you worked on the books?
Yeah, there is, you can include much more information. However, you would never finish a book. So you have to come up with an idea which is economical from the time and to get something finished and say, okay, that's it. If I had more time, I would. Yeah, probably link to spare part manufacturers and put more test values in more. For example, when you use an ohm meter and check the resistance, yeah, I would include more values if I had time. But I wouldn't change anything. The structure, when you walk around the motorcycle and look at each individual part, what you find on this way, this has proven to be very effective.
Mhm. Okay, for the contents, you wouldn't change anything. But how about with the way you worked on the books? Like the way how much time you devoted for it, or let's say, um, what was your strategy in coming up with a book, like working on writing it itself, like that? Is there anything you would like to
Mhm.
change?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I had the idea that after 3 or 4 books, I slow down and yeah, I dedicate more time for my model railway. Yeah. However, my German brain kicked in and keeps me going. So at this stage, I have no idea to change anything in my pace. So I will keep actually until every thing is finished, until the 8 books are finished. Yeah. There is yeah, excuse me, there is a risk that I can't get the hardcovers anymore because it's a small company in South Australia, and I fear they when they go bankrupt, I might not get my hardcovers anymore for my private collection. I always print 100 books or 50 or 25, depending on the audience, how many people I expect. Yeah. And I have no intention to slow down. I will keep the pace and will change nothing at this stage.
That's great. So when
Yeah.
you started out in this goal or in this project of yours, it was really to come up with a series. And the
Yes.
series would have 8 books.
Yeah, right at the beginning, I really believed I write a book. Yeah, I write a book about superbikes. However, after a couple of weeks of research, I found out it's so much information. And so I had to come up with another idea. So I cut it in pieces. And the 8 volumes with the basic models turned out to be just right to achieve about 500 pages per book. And afterwards, I will continue like the Eddie Lawson book. I will continue with the GP set, yeah, B1 Unitruck versions and so on, and the 750 Turbo. So all these models are waiting, yeah, to get attacked by me. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so let's look into your goal. So since the goal is to come up with a series which has 8 books, and now the count is that you've already published 5 books, right?
yeah.
So
The
we're
five, yeah,
somewhere, we're somewhere in the
exactly.
middle of reaching your goal. At this
Yeah.
point, what are your realizations as an author?
Yeah, it turned out very well with these 8 volumes because I can even cover the 1300, the only 6-cylinder motorcycle for private use, and this is basically book number 8. Yeah, and all the others, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, this is like the Eddie Lawson. The book 1 to 8, yeah, covers everything from 1972 until 1989. And then I start with the special models. They have new engines, so I cannot refer to them right now because they have complete different engines. Yeah. And the 1300 lasted over 10 years. So we have 10 different models. So this will just be right to finish book number 8.
Mm, okay. So
Yeah.
really the goal is to finish the 8 books. And we're almost there since we're already in book number 5, right?
Yes. Mm.
Okay. So you may have already answered this in earlier. So what are your plans now for the series? And then what else would you like to achieve?
Yeah, definitely. I work for the reader because I want to leave something which is a complete set. So when a reader decides to buy all the books, they have to look all the same, so the same design, and they have to match, and everyone has to recognize the set. And this is my goal. So I basically work for the reader. And also, I have to admit, I work for my children. They will never be able to find the data for my books if ex-libris would ask. So, by handing it over, it's much more easy to continue with this project. And maybe they write yeah, a book yeah, in addition to the series. Yeah.
But how about you? Like, let's say you already finished this series, and do you think you will continue with your plans of writing the other books, like the Eddie Lawson books and all that?
Yes, yeah, definitely. Because I have no, I mean, when I look at my age, it doesn't matter if I spend a year or more. And this attitude is very important because you need to focus on things. You cannot have fears in the back about time frames. So I had to make a decision earlier what I will do. And my outlook is about 2, 3, or 4 years, and I don't think there will be anything different. Yeah. So I will continue full time and yeah, do one book after the other, and hopefully end up in about 3 years, 15 books. This is my goal.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. hmm Okay, so this has really been your dream right from the beginning. Or at what point in your life did you realize that I want to publish the series?
Oh, I had an idea to write a book about my family. We have a lot of adventures in our family, and then I thought it's not my so it's yeah not my skill to write a story. Yeah, I'm more technical person. So and then I came up, yeah, and thought about an idea for later ages what I will do to stay active. And yeah, so I thought back about the Kawasaki motorcycles and yeah, thought that's a good matter. The audience is my age, and I can understand these people, what they want, what they see, what they I can call them for advice and so on. So we benefit from each other.
Hmm. Do you have uh, communication with people who have been reading your book? Have they been
Yeah,
giving you feedback?
yes, that's very important. Occasionally, I call people and ask about their opinion, and I take it on. So it is about some people found out the 1300 had a different emblem on the tank.
Mhm.
The last 200 motorcycles had basically a coat of arms, so legendary six on the tank, and the letters were an old style, and I took a modern writing, and it was an aftermarket decal. It was not original. So for ex libris now, I was fortunately able to correct it. Yeah, and so occasionally I ask people for their opinion. It's very important. And I contact people. I contacted a race driver.
Mm,
I contacted Craig Fetter in USA. He is the manufacturer of the fairings, of the
mhm.
touring fairings. Yeah, so many bikes, many 1300s have Craig Fetter sets, fairings and saddlebags and top cases. Yeah, so even Craig Fetter was contacted.
Okay, that must have been very exciting for you getting in touch
Yeah.
with, yes, getting in touch with them. Okay, so Stefan, what is your final message to our viewers and our listeners?
Yeah, if you have time, have a look at my webpage. It's now complete, and all the five books are there with sample images. Yeah. The address is www.codezsuperbikes.com. And if you have any questions, yeah, send me an email or yeah, use the webpage for a question. Yeah, I'm happy to answer questions, collect feedback, improve for improvements, and so on. Yeah,
Right.
and yeah, it is a two-way street. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also, I've noticed when I checked your website that posted in the website as well would be the reviews about all your books, right? So, uh, yes, they would be able to read that and they know that it's getting very good reviews from the different reviewers. Okay.
Yes, fortunately, I have five or six professional review offices, and they sent me their review, and I was able to put it on the page. It is important for people who are not sure if they can trust the information or the promise. And when you read the reviews, you have other opinions, so five or six other opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you also like to invite our viewers and listeners to get in touch with you through your social media, perhaps, or
Yeah, I don't use Facebook so often, so it is a very secondary thing. I communicate via email.
okay,
In the book front pages, you find my email address, and also via the postage, yeah, the blog part of my webpage.
yeah, and then that's where your website would come in, right? They can contact you through your
Yes,
website as well.
yes,
Okay. Mhm. Thank you so much, Stefan.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Thank
Mhm.
you for all that you've shared, and congratulations in this new addition to the Kawasaki Superbike series. And we're
Thank you.
almost nearing the goal. Okay, and we're very excited for that. So, to everyone watching and listening, Stefan Oehl's books are available in Ex Libris online bookstore, as well as Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And it's available in soft cover, hardcover, and ebook for those who would like to have a digital copy instead of the printed copies. Okay, so Please grab a copy of the latest book, Kawasaki Superbikes Z1000 A Mark II and E. And you can also visit Stefan's website and get more information about all the books in the series. Get in touch with him. It's www.codezsuperbikes.com. So
Yeah,
thank you,
that's it.
everyone. See you again on the next episode of the Author Roundup.